Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Ashmit Kumar. Here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. A Friday rally, the biggest in 5 months, sees the market ending in the green for the second time in 10 sessions. 35 out of 50 nifty stocks end with gains for the week. Rupee recovers slightly after hitting a record low yesterday. Adani Group stocks recovered a day after a massive sell-off wiped out over 2 lakh crore rupees of investor wealth. Reports suggest that SEBI is looking into whether the Adani Group flouted rules by failing to disclose that the US government was investigating bribery allegations against Gautam Adani and other group executives. The White House says relationship between India and US stands on an extremely strong foundation, expresses confidence that both nations can navigate the crisis surrounding the bribery charges against Adani Group chairman Gautam Adani and others.
$300 million. It's the largest 100% Indian fundraise for a private startup in the history of this country, right? And we are proud of it.
Zomato raises $350 million from a clutch of Indian investors to bolster domestic shareholding. CEO Adit Palecha claims company created 1 lakh jobs and the average monthly salary of delivery partners is more than 23,000 rupees. Denies predatory pricing charges, saying inefficient middlemen have been cut out of the value chain.
This will be one of the most important markets and regions going forward.
The global CEO of semiconductor maker AMD, Lisa Su, says India is one of the most important markets as it houses the company's largest team outside the US. Promises to continue investing as AMD celebrates completing 20 years in India. NTPC Green's 10,000 crore rupee IPO sees strong appetite from retail investors and qualified institutional buyers. The offer is subscribed over 2 times on the last day. Supreme Court expresses dissatisfaction with the compliance of the truck entry ban in Delhi, appoints 13 lawyers as advocate commissioners to examine whether directives are being followed, directs Delhi police and the Delhi government to ensure that checkposts are set up at 113 entry points. Maharashtra and Jharkhand Assembly election results tomorrow. Most exit polls give the incumbent Mahayuti the edge in Maharashtra, predict a dead heat in Jharkhand. Leaders from Ukraine and NATO to hold talks in Brussels after Russia fires an experimental hypersonic missile. Vladimir Putin threatens Western nations, saying that Russia has the right to strike those providing weapons to Ukraine. Bitcoin hovers near the $100,000 mark as the rally continues. Bitcoin has gained over 40% since Donald Trump's victory in the US presidential elections. Well, a strong rebound on Friday helped the Sensex and the Nifty end the week in the green. Nifty moved closer to the 24,000 mark after gaining 500 points today. The Sensex, meanwhile, gained nearly 2,000 points to cross the 79,000 level. Both the indices gained 2% this week. Mid-cap index, meanwhile, gained over 1% today. Prashant Nair joining us now with a quick wrap of the week's trading action. Prashant.
Well, finally, a market which recovered and stayed recovered by close at 3:30. Unlike Tuesday, when you had a big move higher, but then fizzled out towards the last hour of trade. The Nifty went up and sort of kept going through the day. It was a trending day, actually. Last 60 minutes, adding about 100 points for the index. Nifty Bank looking very, very strong. Actually, it was largely a large cap day because large cap indices did 2% plus. Mid and small cap indices were up about 1.25% or so. PSU banks were the top gainer. Real estate as a space did well. IT services was another pack which actually did quite well. Large cap stocks on the Nifty, SBI really stood out. Big gains. TCS did well. Titan, JSW Steel, Bajaj Finance and Ultratech were some of the others which did quite well. In the broader market, and by the way, on the Nifty, very few losers and in the 0.5% to 1% range, so I'm not bothering with those. In the broader market, advances far outnumbered declines. Paytm was a big mover, almost 900. Naukri, there was an upgrade, big gains. PFC, there was a Bernstein note, stock ended 5% higher. Praj was up 10%, Swan Energy. Raymond recovered almost 20% by close. MRPL, Godrej Properties, Castrol, Shipping Corporation of India, Sobha, Phoenix Limited, KEI, Spark, TFCIL, and Wockhardt, which was up about 5% as well. I mean, a lot of the gains, of course, coming on the back of sharp corrections that we've seen. Some of these stocks are down 25-30% from their respective highs in late September. What was under pressure? The Adani Group stocks, there was some recovery from the lows, but still, I mean, you had Adani Green Power and Energy Solutions, which were lower. There were also losses coming through in Honasa. Of course, it's been a catastrophic week for the Honasa share price, down sharply. Torrent Power and Shilpa Medicare were some of the other names which lost in trade today. I mean, as we come back on Monday, there'll of course be the Maharashtra state election results, which the market reacts to. And of course, I mean, you know, the Russia-Ukraine headlines, will we get something by way of an escalation? That's the other thing. Remember, out of the US, we'll get, you know, for the first time, data in terms of how the economy is doing with the PMI numbers. This is going to be, you know, I think a data which markets will watch closely because this is post-Trump, you know, coming to power. Dollar has been very, very strong, not particularly great news for emerging markets. So I think that's something else from a global perspective, which is going to be important. Back to you.
Right, Prashant, thanks a lot for that. Now, there has been a churn in the Sensex, BSE's benchmark index, which comprises 30 stocks. Zomato will be replacing JSW Steel on the Sensex as a part of the index reconstitution, effective as of December 23rd. And speaking of the markets, the rupee recovered slightly after hitting a record low yesterday. However, the greenback's steady rise and persistent selling by foreign portfolio investors continued to weigh heavily on the currency. Escalating geopolitical tensions also weighed on the rupee. Well, the bribery allegations against Gautam Adani and Adani Group executives in the United States remains our top focus. Adani stocks recovered a day after a massive sell-off led to the erosion of close to 2.3 lakh crore rupees worth of investor wealth. 6 of the 10 Adani Group stocks ended in the green today. Reports suggest that the market regulator is looking into whether the Adani Group flouted rules by failing to disclose that the US government was investigating bribery allegations against Gautam Adani and other group executives. Here's a quick recap of what has transpired so far. A US court indicted Gautam Adani, his nephew Sagar Adani, and several other officials for allegedly bribing Indian government officials to obtain solar energy contracts. Now, according to this indictment order, Adani allegedly paid bribes to the tune of over 2,000 crore rupees. This includes an alleged bribe of 1,750 crore rupees to a high-ranking official in the Andhra Pradesh government, who has not been named as a part of that indictment order. In a separate indictment, the US Securities Market Regulator claims that Gautam Adani personally met with then Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy in August of 2021. Jagan Mohan Reddy, meanwhile, YSR Congress said that there was no direct agreement between Andhra Pradesh's power discom companies and any Adani Group firm. The party said that the power sale agreement was signed between Solar Energy Corporation and the state discoms. Meanwhile, Biju Janata Dal, which was in power in Odisha from the year 2000 to early 2024, also responded to allegations saying that the state government officials took bribe from Adani Group for supply of renewable energy. The party said that the power agreement was between Solar Energy Corporation and state government PSU Gridco. The BJD rather, has said that there was no engagement with any private entity. SECI, a central public sector enterprise, is the procurement intermediary between companies and power discoms. Well, for more on that, Hormas Fatakia now joins us. Hormas, tell us a lot happening on the Adani counters today. Some pullback after the deep cuts that we saw yesterday. What are you picking up?
A lot happening indeed. It was a very volatile day for all the Adani Group companies. They opened lower, there was a bit of a recovery, then they fell again from the highs of the day, and then around about 10:30, 11 o'clock we got the news that GQG, which is one of Adani Group's biggest investors at the height of the Hindenburg scandal in 2023, they announced a share buyback which was $65 million or 100 million Australian dollars, and in light of that news, GQG shares, which are listed in Australia, they went up 16%, but by the close of trading there, their stock was also off the highs of the the day, they also ended around 4% higher. So around 8 Adani Group stocks ended with gains in today's trading session. Energy Solutions, Green were the ones that still continued to end with losses. And S&P came out with a note earlier this morning. They mentioned that they are revising the outlook on Adani Ports and one of the units of Adani Green to negative, and this may restrict a lot of the funding access from the overseas markets for a lot of these entities, and they will need regular access to equity and debt funding simply because they have elaborate growth plans and also to regularly refinance their existing debt, and that's why they mentioned that. But S&P also wrote in their note that the Adani companies, if they are the ones that they cover, are built on long established infrastructure assets with strong fundamentals and cash flow, but if the allegations are proven to be true, it can have some bearing on the operations. JP Morgan too came out with a note, and they also say some things on similar lines, that the developments can essentially curtail their group's funding access overall in the offshore bond market, and especially for Adani Green Energy, which has near-term maturities of over 9,500 crores in the second half of the financial year. Adani Energy too has around $500 million of a US dollar bond which is due in August of 2026, and this recent developments may see the exit of some global investors because of this recent judgments. So it was a volatile day for the Adani Group stocks. It was a recovery, but not a recovery at the same time.
Right, Hormaz, thanks a lot for that. Now, the U.S. government has also reacted to the charges against the Adani Group. The White House's press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, said that the U.S. is confident of navigating the crisis given the strong ties between the two countries.
Obviously, we're aware of these allegations, and I would have to refer you to the SEC and DOJ about the specifics of those allegations against the Adani Group. What I will say is on the U.S. and India relationship, we believe that it's stands on an extremely strong foundation, anchored in ties between our people and cooperation across a full range of global issues. And so what we believe and we're confident about is that we'll continue to navigate this issue as we have with other issues that may have come up, as you just stated. And so the specifics of this is something that SEC and DOJ can speak to directly.
Well, here's a CNBC TV 18 exclusive. Quick commerce platform Zepto has raised $350 million from a clutch of investors in a mega domestic funding round. This is India's largest 100% domestic fundraise by a startup so far. Speaking exclusively to Shireen Bhan, Zepto CEO Adit Palicha claimed that the company created over 1 lakh jobs and that the average monthly salary of delivery partners is more than 23,000 rupees. Palicha also denied predatory pricing charges. He said that the company has cut out inefficient middlemen from its entire value chain. Take a look.
We raised over $300 million. It's the largest 100% Indian fundraise for a private startup in the history of this country, right? And we're proud of it. The reason why, when we started this financing, we had over $1 billion of net cash in bank, no debt, right? We're growing well. And the reason why we raised this capital, candidly, is because throughout the entire life cycle of Zepto, we've always wanted to bring on board domestic capital. The first one is predatory pricing. I'll give you an exact data point. So that allegation is false unequivocally by data. If you look at the exact number of units sold on the Zepto platform in FY24 that was below COGS, it was 0.2%. Only 0.2% of our units were sold below cost price of the manufacturer. 99.8% we were making margin on it. 99.8%, right? Even in the stores that we had.
And who's verified this?
This is EY verified. I'm happy to, I'm happy to go, publicly and say anyone that wants to diligence this, please come into our office. Let's look at the books, right? Because we've got data and facts, and there are anecdotes and hyperbole, right? And we're on the side of data and facts. So 0.2% of our units were sold below cost price in FY24. We don't expect the number to change in FY25 much, but we've got book closure numbers for the full year FY24. Even in the markets that we were profitable in, we were meaningfully lower than MRP. So are we predatory pricing? The answer is no. If you look at it, we've created structural deflationary value. We've cut out all the inefficient middlemen that exist in the value chain for grocery, the distributor, the wholesaler. We go straight to the manufacturer. We're procuring millions of products at scale, getting it at a better price. that goes into the platform at a better price for the consumer than MRP, cutting out all the inefficient middlemen that have been sucking out value, and the consumer has had to pay at MRP. So we've structurally reduced the price. We've been able to turn our stores profitable, and that means we're not predatory pricing. We're actually deflationary. So as an industry, to give you a sense, we've gone from 0 to 4.5 lakh jobs in 36 months as an industry, quick commerce. Zepto alone has created over 1 lakh jobs, right? Which is something we should celebrate. If you look at the wages of those jobs, the average wage of all the people that have been in the system that I mentioned, from the delivery partner all the way to a truck driver to the pickers and packers, etc., and the farmers, we've got over 10,000 farmers that are the plurality of their income today in the country. The average wage today is 23,200 rupees on Zepto. You extrapolate that to the industry, and it's quite a lot of wages. To give you a sense, when we did a survey of our delivery partners, we have the data as well. The most common thing that they were doing before they were on Zepto or Zomato or Swiggy or before gig work? Yeah. We put a lot of demonization of this. But you know what the most common thing that they were doing before it? Nothing. They were unemployed. This is young, urban males, urban youth, 10th or 12th pass education, no formal history of employment. That was the first thing that they were doing is they were earning 0. They were unemployed. The second most common answer is they were engaged in some form of informal employment where it's factual and it's been covered by credible economic studies that in the informal sector, things like minimum wages are not adhered to as much as we'd like.
Yeah.
Right? And so we've got, we've estimated, and from the surveys that we've done at scale, statistically significant, that, even the people that were employed were making 10 to 15,000 rupees per month. And now they're making 23,000 rupees per month, right? So we're a net job creator. We're net wage additive. And, we're not predatory pricing.
Well, you can catch that exclusive conversation at 9:30 p.m. right here on CNBC TV 18. Well, in some global news now, tensions in West Asia are on the rise. Israeli military has fired missiles at tents sheltering displaced refugees in northern and central Gaza, killing dozens. The state of Palestine has lauded the International Criminal Court's move to issue arrest warrants to Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and former Foreign Minister Gallant over alleged war crimes. However, the United States has rejected the warrant. The United States, which is not a member of the ICC, had previously welcomed their war crimes warrants against Vladimir Putin and other Russian officials for atrocities committed in Ukraine. Meanwhile, Lebanese Health Ministry has confirmed that the Israeli attacks on the country has killed at least 40 people and wounded over 50. Now, leaders from Ukraine and NATO are set to hold talks in Brussels after Russia fired an experimental hypersonic missile. Russia's move was in response to the US and UK allowing Ukraine to strike Russian territory with advanced weapons. Putin also warned that Moscow would have the right to strike Western nations that provided Kyiv weapons to hit Russia. Responding to Putin, Ukrainian President Zelensky said that use of new missiles amounted to a clear and severe escalation. He reiterated that Russia's move called for a strong worldwide condemnation. Well, with the tensions, oil prices rose on the prospect of tightening crude supplies. This after Russia said that it had fired a ballistic missile at Ukraine and warned of a broadening conflict. This overshadowed the impact of bigger than expected increase in US crude inventories. Mahanagar Gas has hiked prices of compressed natural gas in Mumbai and adjoining areas by 2 rupees. This move comes weeks after the government slashed cheaper domestic gas allocation to distributors by 20%. The global CEO of semiconductor maker AMD, Lisa Su, says that India is one of the most important markets as it houses the company's largest team outside of the US. She is on a visit to India as AMD celebrates completing 20 years in the country. Shireen Bhan spoke to Lisa Su, who promised that AMD will continue to invest in India. Take a look.
It's a very special week for us this week. I'm here celebrating our 20th anniversary in India. India is such an important part of AMD. When we look across our, all of our, global portfolio, every aspect of our product line goes through our design center here in India. And so I had a great time this morning with our team. And when I look back at the last 10 years, it's kind of interesting that we had met each other 10 years ago. It's been a remarkable experience. India is such an important part of AMD. When we look across our, all of our, global portfolio, it's been a remarkable experience. I mean, if you think about all of the things that have changed over the last 10 years.
Well, Advent International has signed a deal to sell Indian packaging company Manjushree Technopack to BAG for an enterprise value of nearly $1 billion. A money control report has suggested that Advent will withdraw the company's initial public offering application from SEBI after this sale. Manjushree filed its IPO application with SEBI in the month of August and was planning to raise more than $350 million in this offering. An NTPC Green's IPO was fully subscribed on the last day of the bidding process, with retail investors and institutional bidders leading this charge. The allocation for retail was subscribed by more than 3 times, while the portion reserved for qualified institutional bidders saw a subscription of 332%. However, non-institutional investors bid for 81% of the quota set aside for them. And JSW Energy has received an administrative warning letter from SEBI regarding insider trading violations. The violations pertain to certain trades executed by designated persons and their immediate relatives. JSW Energy stated that there is no financial or operational impact on the company due to these violations. The company emphasized that it has already taken necessary actions against the individuals involved. With Donald Trump's presidency drawing nearer, the World Trade Organization has planned a special meeting to advance the process of reappointing its Director General. The meeting could fast-track the appointment process to avoid any risk of it getting blocked by the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. Remember, Trump and his allies have criticized the trade watchdog's chief in the past. Remember, the WTO chief's current term is slated to last till August of 2025 and is the first African and first woman to hold that position. And coming up, Bitcoin hovers near the $100,000 mark as the rally continues. We tell you what's fueling this rally in just a bit. And you can also catch all CNBC. Well, you are watching India Business Hour. U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chair Gary Gensler will step down on the 20th of January when President-elect Trump's administration takes over. Gensler was nominated by President Joe Biden in 2021 and implemented an ambitious regulatory agenda during his tenure. And U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has nominated Pam Bondi as the country's next Attorney General. This comes after Trump's first choice, Matt Gaetz, withdrew his name amidst charges of sexual misconduct. Bondi has served as Florida's Attorney General and also part of Trump's legal team during his first Senate impeachment trial. Now, back home, at least 3 people have been killed and 9 others have been hospitalized after a gas leak at a fertilizer plant in Maharashtra's Sangli district. The police said that the gas leak occurred following a blast in a reactor in the plant. The incident took place at 6:30 p.m. yesterday. Now on to news now from the national capital. Supreme Court has expressed dissatisfaction with the compliance of the truck entry ban in Delhi. The Apex Court has appointed 13 lawyers as advocate commissioners to examine if directives are being followed. Delhi police and the Delhi government have also been directed to ensure that checkpoints are set up at the 113 entry points. Remember, the entry of trucks has been banned after the implementation of Stage 4 of the Graded Response Action Plan, or the GRAP, on the back of air quality deterioration. Well, on to now the crypto markets. Bitcoin prices have cooled off marginally after a meteoric rally, pushing the crypto just $700 shy of the anticipated $100,000 threshold. The surge has pushed crypto's overall market capitalization to $3.4 trillion. Manisha Gupta joins us now with more. Manisha.
It's are done with all-time highs. It is the 100,000 psychological mark. Those 6 figures and 5 zeros is what everybody really seems to be looking at right now. But as we trade at all-time highs for Bitcoin, and the last 24 hours have been nothing short of a party on crypto coin as a segment there, because a lot of cryptocurrencies have surged anywhere between 5 to 15% overnight. We also are looking at the crypto market cap at a record of $3.4 trillion right now. Well, the support has come in 2024, one on the back of, because this is a Bitcoin halving year, so you see a lot of Bitcoins burned out, and that has been supportive. And then it is about hopes of a more stronger, friendlier crypto administration as Trump takes over in January 2025. The markets have seen US spot Bitcoin ETF also get listed on 20th of November. And since its listing, there has been $1 billion of a net inflow that we have seen come in for this very new instrument as well. And then Trump has vowed to introduce crypto-friendly regulations, even introduce Bitcoin within the forex reserves there. So there's lots that the markets are anticipating as 2025 begins. Also, the SEC chair, Gensler, is ready to resign in Jan. Gensler has been a harsh one when it comes to cryptocurrency as a segment. So his going also is seen as a very, very positive there. Industry in past 2 years has seen a lot of strength come in, and this year clearly looking at very strong gains there. If you look at the Bitcoin journey, since the time election has happened, this has been a month, we've seen 40% of gains come in for Bitcoin, 160+% kind of gains coming in this year itself. So we are looking at a very strong run up, but as soon as we see that 100,000 perhaps is what would add to further cheer coming in for this market.
Right, Manisha, thanks a lot for that. Now, matchmaking site matrimony.com has now forayed into online job search market. In an exclusive conversation with my colleague Jude Sanif, CEO, Murugavel Janki Raman talks about this motivation behind the latest move.
I don't know whether you recall or not, we had another job portal a long time back, okay, which was shut down. Post Lehman Brothers crisis, we had to focus on only few verticals. That point we let go many verticals. One of the vertical was job vertical. This time we have not launched yet another job portal because the India dynamics have changed. You know, the matrimony.com is almost 2 decades in the matchmaking space. We understand the platform business very well. So we saw an opportunity in the grey collar job portion. We have not launched yet another job portal. So what is many jobs that you have launched is an exclusive job portal for the grey collar workforce.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thanks so much for watching. News and updates will continue right here on CNBC TV 18.